It seems to me that what's happened is that these students have got the runaround. That what's happened is that they have not been met squarely with a simple demand for an impartial hearing committee. Now what is so hard to understand about a demand like that? That there be an impartial hearing committee. A committee which all sides can agree to. Now, as far as I understand, that's all that's being asked for, so that the charges, the evidence can be presented. But they don't want a kangaroo court. They don't want a court which they don't have the choice in participating, the right to participate in the choosing of. They want a committee which they can feel is a fair one. And then and only then can we reasonably expect the full story, all the evidence and so on and so forth to be dealt with. You can't expect people to go before a kangaroo court and present their case. Who can expect that? Okay. So it seems to me we have to be very clear. We shouldn't get hung up on all the issues all at once. Let's take them as they come. Just let's take them in order. The first issue is the need for a fair committee. That demand has got to be met first. Thank you.
This Anderson affair has been dragging along for too long of a time, and I think because of that, a lot of the people have lost sight of the issue. Right now, the issue is not black versus white. Right now, the issue is right versus wrong. Justice versus injustice. Student versus administration. And the sooner all you people realize it, the better off you'll be.
We have here someone from the administration backing, I guess. So he's going to lay forward his own side of the story to you.
I think we can all admit that up to now the administration has done a bit of bungling. But I tell you now, and in my own opinion, they have given this party a fair opportunity.
What do you mean fair?
They were given the chance to legal representation and to defend themselves publicly. They themselves, because of a legal technicality in which several of their own members were...
Talk about the first issue. Talk about
It is a committee, it is not a court, in which several of their own members were under criminal charges. It was because of this they could not defend themselves. Unfortunately, I cannot sympathize with this. Just a minute. Secondly, I think the issue is becoming clouded. You are no longer dealing with racism alone. You are also dealing with socialism, communist factions, and in this case, it can be... You're right. Just a minute, And in this case, there is only one thing it is aimed at. This is the destruction of your own... Your own university administration, and it is also going to weaken Canada itself. I ask you to wake up.
I asked you a direct question. Talk about the committee.
Judge, give him one more chance, man.
But he doesn't want to
Give him a chance.
Your
Your best bet at this point would be to leave this room. You are accomplishing nothing standing here. You are merely giving them a platform from which to speak. Thank you.
Thanks. I noticed in the name calling, the one thing he didn't mention was the description of himself, fanaticism. But that's okay. That's all right. That's always the case of people. I wasn't saying fascism. I was saying fanaticism. Thank you. Now, I want to tell you one thing. If the issue is becoming clouded, then the best thing to do is to get the people who are going to uncloud the issue. Go get the administration. We're not going to announce it, man, because the administration has got to come here. They have to come to us, man. How are we going to go to the administration? Are you kidding?
Besides the left.
The issue was at first an issue of racism. If you can stand here
and tell us that racism was not the case, then it only reflects the racism in yourself. The racism in yourself is being reflected because of the fact that you have lost sight of the administration's errors. They were not uncalculated errors. They were calculated errors to sidetrack us, for us not to bring out the issues at hand. If the administration bungles, then it is only right for it to be corrected. If a student makes a mistake, he is corrected. In fact, from the administration's point of view, repressive measures are set in and not correction. We are deciding now that if the administration is not good, it is to be changed. How this affects Canada, I see it in a positive way. It allows honest people to run universities. If this is a university, then it's supposed to be apolitical. It is supposed to be apolitical. However, the people who attend universities cannot be apolitical because they live in a political society. The politics of this society was designed not for black people. That is understandable. That is understandable. But the mistake about this university and Canada is that if you do not want black people, do not attempt to be liberal. If you are going to be racist, become like Australia. Do not allow black people in. Because when black people get here, like anybody else, Italians, Jews, anybody else, they carve out a mark for themselves in a situation which they want to make good for themselves. We want to make life bearable for black people in Canada, and as long as it is not going to be bearable, then we're not going to exist under suppressive measures. If this means that your university structure does not stand up, then that is tough. All you must do is send us all back. I don't see how you can do it because you have a lot more to lose.
Luckily, I'm not a student here. Somehow I got to teach here. And I just want to address some of the older professors here. And just what we want to tell them is that, there are young faculty members here too, and we understand what's happening. And the issue here is basically a new university, a new world. Things are happening, things are changing. And then Chet Davis this morning spoke to you, and he spoke about questioning faculty members. Well, 4 years ago, I was a freshman in college in a school in New Jersey. That year, a certain professor said he was a self-avowed Marxist. A certain gubernatorial candidate campaigned to have him fired. All of us students went running around the state campaigning and rapping academic freedom. That professor was Eugene Genovese, who now has turned against everybody. I'm really pissed off as I ran around the state for him. And I think you have to start asking your faculty members where they're at. And start with Genovese and ask him why, when 4 years ago he was in trouble, he was rapping academic freedom, and ask him when he's going to start rapping student freedom.
Now, one question I'd like to clear up for some of our friends here. This is about that communist business, you see. When those guys that support the administration want to get most of you that are in the middle, in the side, they speak about Canadian nationalism, they speak about communism, how those Maoists, those internationalists are trying to make noise, see? You see. Now, I want you all to make a clear distinction between those guys. Now, there are two kinds of communists. Some of them say that they are, see? So they will run around with a lot of slogans of Mao Zedong. When the issues come, they are not there, you see. They claim class power and all is a class business, that bullshit to us, They tell us that it's not a question of racism, it's a question of class struggle, you see, and they just spend their whole time blah, blah, blah. Now, I believe that I saw 2 or 3 white guys here that say that they are communists. Now, most of them, they were right here supporting us, you see. You don't have to be one to support us. You have to be on the side of justice, But I will say that if the communists support us, they are our brothers, our cousins.
Okay, hold on a sec, okay? Now, I want you to get Bones Clark here. I want you to get him and O'Brien in here because it's important for him to answer this question. If they want this thing settled, if you want this thing settled, can you explain to me exactly why police are being deployed outside here? Do you think for 1 minute that after 10 months of having gone through this runaround, that after we have laid ourselves on the line by having confronted the administration in the first place, that such tactics could get us to decide that we're going to back down? The important thing is to get D.B. Clark and O'Brien here to save face or to tell you the truth. This is the important thing. The committee is illegal by virtue of the fact that we had no say in it. If it is illegal, then we cannot be expected to come to a hearing with a kangaroo court. It is rigged. If it is not rigged, then I ask you to explain to me why. And I'm going to ask Mr. Marsden here. I want him to explain why. Why is it that he resigned from the committee in the first place, saying that he had other interests which might compromise his position? He is president of the CAUT, Canadian Union of University Teachers. Or was, I don't know what it is. He represents the union.
Meeting. I have explained everything I need to in the hearing that was assembled.
Listen, man, this guy's really hung up, you know. I mean, are you crazy? There is no committee. You can't understand. No committee.
Thank you. Well, he asked people to come down from upstairs, and I've come down, and I think 100% of us believe that there is an injustice. An injustice has occurred, but what we are protesting is that last week they claimed that they were non-violent and that the administration were warmongers. And now I look at the pathetic figures sitting there, and I see the black students, and I say, who is non-violent and who is the warmonger? Thank you.
Now I'm going to answer this question for you very simply. We have to begin when we ask questions to define what violence is. Violence is not physical in the first place. Violence starts with a mental state. If you're violent to stand here and impose a committee on us to hear a case that we have been undergoing suffering for 10 months and so long it hasn't been a thing, that is violence. It is violent for the committee on the question. It is violent for the committee on the question to decide its validity and impose laws which we had no agreement in, to judge a case which we were making. It is violent for the committee, you know, you listen, man, you made the thing, you listen. It is violent for the committee to sit here. It is violent for them to sit here and decide how they're going to judge a case without us having any say in it. You see?
Okay, I want to stop.
You see, but don't tell us about violence when violence means that we come here and take the only other recourse that we have. You see, the thing about minority groups is they always have power to muck up the works. They always have that power. If the power to muck up the works in the search for justice is what you call violence, then you can afford to go along being suppressed all your life.
Okay, give me that. No, give me a break. I want to say something. Just for a second. 1 minute. I came here today expecting that by this time I would be locked up in number 10 police station. And I came prepared to be there now. You see, the hang-up is the administration has pushed the students in a corner. And they said, don't give us a carte blanche that you won't use violence. I am telling the administration and telling you that if you put me in a corner, brother, I am giving you no carte blanche that I wouldn't use violence. If I have to use violence, if that is the only answer, I am going to use it. You saw, we haven't been violent at all. Look at the guy sitting down there, quite cool, his hand under his chin. You saw we brought lawyers. You went in the back room. I was almost convinced that they wouldn't even let the lawyer for the guys come and sit there and talk. I am convinced that the administration intends to railroad the guys. So I have made a pledge that I am going with the guys to the end. If I have to sleep in number 10 for a month, I am willing to do it. Thank you.
Okay, what's the question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why isn't the press allowed in here to listen what you are telling us? If it is so right, read it, sir. want to mention something about
been interested in us fighting.
why the administration put out the press.
I want to find out from you. All right, I'm going to answer the question. Why, when students move to get the justice they deserve, the press finally becomes interested? How come they have never been interested in our side of the story to this point? Why today? Are we to believe that at this point they're going to say what really happened? We never wanted the press in the first place. We didn't want it, we still don't want it. This is a university situation. If it goes outside, we're willing to let the press come anytime. You will note that the first press conference came from Sheldon in the statement here where he was asked to go on the press. We're not interested in public images. What we're interested in is getting what is right. And what is right is justice. If you're interested in an image, go on the show on TV 12 called Camera Call. That'll suit you fine. It's not good for me.
Yeah, I'd just like to make one point. One of the premises for this committee that's sitting here is the fact that professors have a right to be judged by their peers. I'd just like to know if there is not a disciplinary committee for student discipline at this university with professors and administrators sitting on it.
Is there not also a disciplinary committee for professors? Talking about this thing, I want to find out something. You know, what's this guy? Don Rosenbaum, self-appointed spokesman for 15,000 Georgians, on Saturday morning had the authority to call professors and students together to draw up a paper on students' rights and faculty rights. In the meantime, the people involved in the case have not had any chance to hear about their own rights. Hold a second. That's all right.
Nothing constructive comes from the Student Association, my friend, except refuting the committee.
Why don't you leave if you feel you're being useless? That is not the point at hand. We're not interested in the isms.
Listen.
It's always a result of ignorance that brings out a retort from you like that. Besides which, equal time, brother, equal time. Besides which, I am well aware after 11 months of the tact of trying to sidetrack. I am not going to allow myself to get sidetracked from the central issue. Come down here, come down here.
Wait for these people to come down.
Are you on David this week?
Yes.
Yeah. David.
This is a good statement on this. You say communist, socialist, always. Why the hell is it always the liberals and the conservatives and the fascists that are always fighting against it? How come they don't do it?
Okay.
Is that the idea? Okay, what I want to say?
Go ahead. You got the truck.
No, okay, what I want to say, if there's justice being, if Anderson has done anything wrong against you guys, I'm a freshman, I don't know what really happened last year. Okay, if Anderson can't speak very well. Okay, if Anderson was a racist, I believe he should be accused and be treated for. Okay, I believe in that. But now, how can we prove the way it's happening today? Everybody's spirits are high. We're not doing it in a logical manner right now. Everybody's talking. Okay?
Hello. Peace and love, brothers. Peace and love.
Equal time.
Are you finished? Were you finished? I'll answer the gentleman's question. No, no. He's finished. I'll answer the gentleman's question here.
He said he's finished.
There's no one here who is more concerned about this issue than myself.
And so am I.
As a matter of fact, I was just speaking to Perry this morning, and he asked me if I was returning to his 431 physiology class. And I told him it depended on the circumstances of events that are yet to come. So you can see that both of us, both Perry and myself, are concerned. However, oh wait, I have a lab tonight. Oh yeah, that's true. I want to point out something in the administration. We told them last night that our lawyer had come into town. And they wanted to meet with our lawyer this morning. They're very nice people, the administration. They would have taken them down to their suite in the Sheraton Montreal where they've been holed up for the past couple of days or so.
Use the Judge campus.
Yeah, that's the new campus. And feed them with double Bacardis and whatever they want, cash blanc. Do you know how much money all is being spent on this particular case? You should start guessing, my friend. You should start guessing. But to answer the gentleman's question, when we told them that we wanted our lawyer to come in here to make a statement, remember carefully that the hearing was supposed to start at 10 o'clock. Do you know what the hearing was all about? They wanted from us a statement that as long as we came in here, we would proceed with the hearing and accept the ruling of my good friend Professor Adamson, who told me that he has been fighting racism before I was born. Just imagine that. My good friend Professor Adamson and his South African friend. That's what the administration did not want us to come inside here with our lawyer today. That's what the hang-up was all about. And then you talk about equal justice. Perry Anderson is my friend. Some of my best friends are white people. Ask him, you know. He shouts me, Rodney, hi. I say, hi, Perry. And that's it. That's equal justice, you know. You talk about equal justice. I am also on trial because I have to get up there and prove those accusations against my friend. And, you know, I can't see what you all are getting hipped up about. You get sidetracked about issues, about white people, you know, and black people. But the issue is that we started out with a complaint against a professor. And now we end up not just fighting the whole fucking administration structure, but also you white racist students in the back. And that is enough to drive a man crazy. We are not only taking on an individual member of faculty, but also the administration. And now we have to be fighting students. Just so well, don't fight me down. And I think that those of you who are concerned with justice, let us deal with the central issue today, which is getting the administration to come here and let them negotiate with us to set up a new hearing committee.
Next, we'd like to present to you a member from the faculty. One who has run into the administration, a graduate from Sir George William University, one of you, who from time to time was acknowledged for his academic ability, as many of you are being acknowledged right now, and who, because he did not present the line that the administration wanted and accepted, you see, who, like us, challenged them. He today is a victim. A member of the faculty which sit there and judge, can also be a victim. I present to you a victim of the administration, David Orton.
Well, I guess I want to say a few things about what's happened today and, you know, my analysis of it.
It's very clear to me that looking at the hearings this morning that it was not correct in any way to participate in those hearings. The committee has no standing whatsoever. It's a bogus committee. Adamson's sitting on a kangaroo court, like he sat on a kangaroo court in the summer, which investigated myself. And it was very clear that if you wanted to come here and participate, then you participate according to the bourgeoisie's rules. And they've set up this court to try and convict the black students. It's very clear. And you see, initially what happened was that the lawyer challenged the legitimacy of the hearings. And this is a crucial issue. He challenged the legitimacy of the hearings, and then moved on to the question of the legal questions about the charges against the progressive black students. Now the question is, it's not the charges against the progressive black students. It's, as one person pointed out, it's the whole institution which has to be looked at. And what we had this morning by the black students coming and participating here, I mean, watching it from the TV from outside, we have propaganda being made against the cause of the black students, and it's completely correct that they no longer refuse to have anything to do with this committee. Now, the demands of the black students, as they were elaborated upstairs, they're very moderate demands. I don't know, most of you should really sort of see that. You know, that the committee be disbanded, that a new committee be set up, and that the charges be dropped. Now, you know, the issues involved here are much larger than that. They involve the whole, you know, all areas of the university, the administration, many faculty members, and it's these people that should be investigated. It's these people which you should have here and asked to account for themselves. And as I said on Friday, I don't know how many of you, how long it's going to be before you see this, that it's the progressive black students that have opened up these issues for you. Now, okay, so what should be done now? It seems to me that there are quite a few things to do. First of all, I mean, I don't agree with the line, can you pick that up for me? I don't agree with the line of action without analysis. I think this is excellent today that we've come here and you've actually sort of taken over the hearing, and then you've asked these people up behind, these bourgeois professors, to account for themselves, and you see all the sort of trivial things they come out with. They talk about peeing, and they have bladder problems and all the rest of it. Well, the issues are much more significant than that. They're issues of racism, and they're tied into this bloody imperialist university here in Quebec. And Quebec is the homeland of the Quebec people, much as some of you anyway don't seem to appreciate that. And what needs to be done now, it seems to me, is not to bring the administration here. It's not just a simple question of this committee. What has to be done, it seems, because a lot of you don't seem to see the issues, is absolutely sort of a massive sort of propaganda, like what is going on today. And I'd like to point out to you that what is going on today is what we call a mass democracy session. And the chairman of this mass democracy session has pointed out very crucially that there are issues involved, and people should speak to those issues. And so it seems to me there has to be an escalation of this, because the administration seems quite inflexible, because their whole conduct and conduct of large numbers of faculty members are going to be called in question. So you have to mobilize the people in this university and other universities in the communities, and this is not going to be a short-term job, it's going to be a very long-term job. And this includes strikes, cancellation of classes and rallies and all the rest of it, escalation. But it has to be escalation so people understand what the issues are. And I think today, by getting the various factions down here and getting people to expose themselves, expose their ideas, that you start to see some of what the issues are, and that's all I want to say. Thanks.
Many of you people are worried because you feel that people have been shouting at you. You're confused. There isn't any order. Well, there's one thing you can say about this. When a baby is flapped, it cries. And when a child is slapped, it may even rebel and run away. But we aren't babies anymore, and we aren't children anymore. Supposedly we're adults, and when somebody yells at us, you can say, "Why did he yell at me?" You're not going to run away immediately. You might think that there's something behind it. And supposedly to be an adult means that you're going to sit down and analyze what happens. And if you stick here long enough, you're going to find out that there's a lot more than shouting going along. And if a black man is shouting at you, maybe he's getting rid of his steam, and maybe it's long.